they're a wonderfully complementary package of studies of concepts, methods, day-to-day practice, issues and debates within journalism, within the academy and within the newsroom. And that's great. They sell well, they get good downloads, I get very positive feedback. And we try and break the usual problems with some journals of a long lag between submission, progress, dealing with things. We have a short run. We acknowledge receipt within 24 hours. Within a week they get a judgment. I have read it. And it goes back to them saying, sorry, we're not sending this for review. It's rejected at this stage. A handful, something like between 5 and 10% now, go on for anonymous review, two-way blind review process. No one knows what they're reading and who it's from, and the submitting author doesn't know who it's gone to. There are problems with that, but it's the fairest thing we've come up with. There is very little understanding of the processes of production, of editorial work that's involved in making a reasonable evaluation of their work, of how it fits in. There's somehow no understanding that their piece is one tiny bit of the material that comes across this desk in front of me here, and that I read and many other people read around the globe, and they fit it in with all the works and things that they do, which involves teaching other students. So there's a shocking level of ignorance, if you will, in the best sense of that, the non-evaluative sense of that. People don't have the knowledge of what editing a journal involves and the editorial process involves. We try and inform them about that. I work with a very good editorial assistant, and we have jointly prepared papers that at each stage of the editorial process they get sent an information sheet which tells them about where they are in the schedule, what's happening to their work, and why this is taking what seems to them to be an incredibly long time, but which is actually pretty efficient and constantly refining that end. And you're constantly feeling the pressure, no matter how hard you work, from authors who don't understand the editorial process and then don't understand the production process. The production processes at Routledge, I think, are brilliant. There's an inevitable queue. All good journals attract more stuff, but we get stuff published online that you can enter for a research assessment exercise or research excellence framework, whatever the latest Mickey Mouse name is for this exercise. Within 3 months from submitting it, it's online, it's published in an iFirst system. It has its own ISBN, ISSN number. It ranks, it's considered formally an accepted publication for submission as part of a research assessment exercise. I think that's pretty good. I can't imagine another publisher that can match that process. I suppose if I were a publisher, I'd say, what is it sells books and what is it sells journals? And there are three groups of players here, or there are three elements in the mix. One is the title. The other is the author and their reputation and standing, and the third is obviously the publisher. I think what leads that trilogy is always the title, although it shifts. I mean, at the moment in my field, if you had a book, I mean, if I were working at Routledge, I'd be off commissioning a book on how to resolve and square this circle between achieving all the benefits of space and pace that come with online journalism, the infinite capacity to publish, and the speed at which you can update text and narrative, with the need to turn a profit. Not a dirty word, an absolute must to inform and drive and resource the whole process. So a title like that, everybody would buy it. And really, who writes the book doesn't matter any more than who publishes it. The title is everything, it leads the way. However, if you're doing yet another book saying, introducing sociology, introducing political science, introducing media studies or journalism studies, there are millions. So what sets the book apart? Well, then I think the author steps forward and says, thank you very much, here I am, I'm the guy who writes the books, I'm now leading this caravan, this circus or whatever it is, and so the fact that it's Mary Johnson writing the book rather than Sid Snott is terribly important. It's an average, it's a textbook, there are millions like it. What lifts it as the pimple on the landscape into a full-blown boil, forgive the robust metaphors, then it becomes important. I'm afraid that I think the publisher always comes a poor third, and I'm very reluctant to say this, but that said, publishers have brands. I have to be careful what I say here, this is potentially litigious, but we all know the publishers we don't want to publish with. And within the field of media communication, journalism studies, I think Routledge is by far and away the best for all sorts of reasons, and I could enumerate some of them. Probably one of them is that I've worked with Routledge a long time. I've got to know the staff. I know the brand pretty well. The product I think is good. It's as fast as anyone else. It's technically as good. They sign up the best writers. Okay, some people escape to other publishers, and we all write across different publishers. So there are very good reasons for that. But what makes a book sell, what makes journalism studies sell now, is that somehow it managed to climb its way up the greasy pole. The product looks good. We care a lot about the big red one, as I call it, and the black and red. We care about the print. We used to deliver it split the page into 2 editorial columns. We dropped that. I wasn't sure about that, but anyway, for whatever reasons, we care about every aspect of it, and suddenly the word gets out that, oh, this is quite interesting. They don't just go for big names, you know. So there are these 3 elements in a brand, and a successful book and a successful journal, a title which is exciting or interesting or somehow comes to capture the whole brand, and I think that's what journals do that individual books don't. And it's a bit like good journalism actually, what's significant and what's interesting, and that's what as an editor you have to do, and you need a publisher that goes with you on that. I mean, the great thing about Routledge, and I'm sorry, an old friend of mine used to have this phrase, an Americanism, about I don't want to blow smoke up your ass, which means I don't want to flatter you, but Routledge have not only always been encouraging, they've always sort of said, yeah, you could do that. They've always resourced me to do stuff, and I don't find that in other places. I even have a little pen that says journalism studies and one that says journalism practice, and we send them with a little tongue-in-cheek letter, only to people who publish in the journal. That's the only way you can get one of those pens. And I send this little letter and it says, get this pen out in meeting and be the envy of your friends. And people, you know, almost everybody writes back and says, I really like the pen. I got it out last week in a meeting and I brandished it around and everyone knew what it was. And it's that little bit of extra 2p worth of plastic that makes it feel incredibly special. You know, I'd love to get one of those pens. I don't send myself one. If I write something, I don't send one. So it's a real complex mix. I suppose if you ask me to summarise what my experience has been with Routledge, it's been exciting for me personally, it's been incredibly rewarding, but it's also been very complimentary. I felt that I've had a product in the sense of a journal and ideas for elaborating a second journal, and now a series of books that emerge from themed issues of that journal. It's been win-win-win. As an editor, I produce journals and a series of books about journalism, which creates publishing opportunities for authors and researchers and scholars, and produces income and material to think about designing and presenting in attractive and engaging ways for publishers. So we all win-win-win. And what our elephant in the room has a big spanner with him, and what he's threatening to do is to toss that in, and the more metaphors the merrier in my view. So we've got elephants chucking spanners into the works. What the Elsevier boycott and petition represents is disharmonious ways of working, that something's going wrong here. The mutuality of interest is beginning to become divergent. And this is an incredibly exciting and privileged business, writing stuff for publication for others to read. Boy, does it get any better. I mean, it's fantastic. But it has to work together in ways that are mutually beneficial. Joint enterprise is to all hold hands together, open the gates, and see how we all get into the green pastures where we all flourish and we all have great fun and we all have real intellectual consummation, satisfaction, enjoyment, thrill, excitement, all the stuff that goes with editing a journal in an explosive and expansive field in which lots of intelligent, creative, ferociously bright young people work and study and research and write beautiful papers. And I want to publish them all. And I think somehow we just need to find the right way of opening the online door, so that every time we throw a paper in, a fiver pops out, and we can finance that activity. Sorry, too many metaphors. My name's Bob Franklin. It's a trademark. Thank you.